Alright, welcome to the Academy. It's time to enroll some students, so tell me more about yourself. I'm the greatest of students here. I have a bonus of 32, so I'm clearly the best person here. Okay, you're a bit snotty, but hey, you have a pretty good bonus to start, so you are definitely in. Send in the next student, please. Huh, school? Who needs this? I have a bonus of 47, so I don't need to go to school. But my parents did take away my phone, so in order to get it back, they say I have to go to school. Alright, you might be a bit arrogant and everything, but you have a bonus of 47, so that's excellent. You are in. Now, send in the final potential student here. Hey, thanks for the opportunity for allowing me to apply at your school. As you can see by my grades, I am a great learner. I'm a fast learner. I'm willing to adapt and yeah, just really eager to learn. I only have a bonus of 10, but you give me a chance, I will work hard every day to make something of myself. Excuse me? A bonus of only 10? Get out, you're expelled. Wait, expelled? Wait, does that mean I got in even for a second? Yes! Hey everyone, how's it going? Total Level here with a review of an upcoming game, or should I say games, of Classic Heroes 1 and 2 Anniversary Edition. So yeah, really cool. Publisher P-Cube reached out to me, asked if I would want to do reviews of these games on my channel, so yeah, I said of course I would love to, so big thank you to P-Cube for providing me with PlayStation 5 codes of each game. That is just really awesome. I have enjoyed a good number of P-Cube published games before, like Dust Diver and Kataria Fables, so this was a great opportunity to check out another one of their games early. Classic Heroes 1 and 2 Complete Edition are HD remasters of games that originally came out on the PSP, with Classic Heroes 2 getting an enhanced version on the PS3 called 2G, which is the remaster you get here. A remaster of Classic Heroes 1 was already released in Japan on the Switch in 2018 called the Anniversary Edition, but we're getting it here now for the first time. These are old-school style first-person dungeon crawler RPGs that would be inspired by games like the Wizardry series. The developer also worked on some Wizardry games as the series became quite popular in Japan, but they would probably be best known now these days for the Octopath Traveler games, as Acquire did help develop Classic Heroes 1 and 2. For this review, what I'm going to do is I will review the first game and then review the second and finally do my outro. I'll put timestamps in the video down below, just to keep all the reviews separated so you can skip along. I'll also put links down in the description below to P-Cube's site covering Classic Heroes 1 and 2, along with putting links for PMP Games Online and Video Games Plus to where you can pre-order the game. Classic Heroes 1 and 2 Complete Edition comes out April 26 on the PlayStation 5, Nintendo Switch, and PC. So with that all out of the way, let's begin my review. Classic Heroes 1 Anniversary Edition sees you playing as a bunch of different students that you either create and enroll at your school, or use the ones that the game provides for you at the start. I do recommend making your own though, as not only is it fun, but as you enroll you will get bonuses to add to your character's stats, and you can keep exiting and re-entering to get a good roll of, 30 stat points or more. And so you can start characters with some nice stats, and believe me, you will need it. But at the school academy, you are sent into dungeons to clear floors and defeat certain enemies that your instructors and fellow classmates ask you to do. The game's story honestly is pretty weak, as the main characters you meet here just seem like they were placed here for the sake of having someone to talk to in order to get quests from. It does get a little more interesting when you meet someone who could be one of the instructor's sisters, but overall nothing to write home about. Now, anyone who has played these style of games or these Japanese dungeon crawlers know how difficult and grindy they can be, and that's where I think a good number of people will be frustrated with. First, while you get to create your characters and have a good selection of races and classes to choose from, as long as you have the right number of attribute points in a section to pick that class, I found the game didn't do a great job at balancing them, especially the beginning of the game. First off, it is confusing at how, you're supposed to make progress through the game, along with figuring out the mechanics, as I do find with a good number of these first-person dungeon crawlers that is a lot of trial and error. For pretty much the whole game, I found having a fighter, priest, thief, and 3 mages really helped me through the game, especially the beginning. Your melee attacks do very little damage until you're able to grind and save up for more powerful weapons, so I found the mages were very useful. You get to bring 6 party members along with you through these dungeons, with 3 in the front row and 3 in the back, Now, in the back you can't do any melee attacks unless you surprise an enemy, but you can use magic, and that's why I use so many mages. The monsters at the beginning don't have any big magic resistances or anything like that, so you could often one-shot them with a mage. This is where the grind comes in. You level up very slow and get money even slower. There's also no actual magic points for magic. Instead, you have a certain number of uses you can do for your magic until you level up and unlock more spells and uses for your magic. You can also die very easily to enemies early on, so you need to stay near the exit of the dungeons, defeat a few enemies, go back, heal up your magic again, and go back in. This makes for a very tedious beginning. Like I said, melee attacks are very weak at the beginning, so classes that focus on melee aren't great at the start. I had to grind for about 5 hours or so before I could even afford this longsword for my fighter class to do some actual damage. I still needed to grind to get weapons for my thief and priest. It made for a frustrating beginning for me. I also had the thief since they could remove traps from chests, and a priest for healing since you want to conserve as much money as possible. Luckily, restoring your magic costs nothing, so once you get the hang of it, it does get better. However, I was also not a fan of the dungeons here. The way to progress is by accepting quests from the library, with everyone giving quite cryptic ways of telling you how to complete them. So that made it kind of frustrating, and then you go into these floors and dungeons to progress. You start with just 2 areas you can go to, but as you progress, you unlock more. Now, these dungeons are semi-randomized, where as you enter and exit, you will be on a different map. I say semi-random because you will end up on a map you've been on before. Also, make sure you buy maps from the store so that you can see where you've been, as the dungeons do look the same and is easy to get lost in. Now, there's one thing that I didn't mind, because as you progress you unlock more floors, and sometimes for those floors you'll be on a map you already completed, so that was kind of nice that it was just a reskinned map of one you already completed, and there's auto map features or auto movement features where you can move from one area to another, like, automatically, and that's kind of nice. Though, if you want to teleport to somewhere where you had to be, it's going to cost you, but, just the way that these dungeons are designed, though, like, it just created more frustration than fun exploration. Of course, you go into these games expecting traps on these floors, but some maps I found were just poorly designed. The biggest one I can think of right away is just at the start of the game, where you have about 20 doors and every single one will teleport you to the beginning of the map except for just one, and then once you find that one door, you go a bit further and the same setup is used again. And then it's kind of inverted the other way. It's just not fun for me when you have to guess like that and do this trial and error of like, which door will I progress through? It's not a fun mechanic for me, personally, right? Now, battles themselves I found were pretty decent. You know, you can go by them pretty quickly just holding X, right, to kind of speed up battles and things like that, but it just, you know, that grind at the beginning made it very, very difficult, though. Once you were able to level up and get better equipment, like, the game does get more enjoyable. In saying that, though, overall, the game just wasn't too interesting to me. A bland story with uninteresting characters, and when the game's main mechanic is exploring the dungeons, and the dungeons were both kind of boring to me along with just frustrating, I feel that this game wasn't for me personally. If you enjoy dungeon crawlers like these and you know what you're getting into, you may and hopefully find much more enjoyment with Class of Heroes 1 than I did. You know, I always like to go in hoping that I enjoy every game, but sometimes that just doesn't quite happen. Now on to Class of Heroes 2G Remastered, and let me tell you, this was a very enjoyable experience. It improves on pretty much every aspect from the first game, though it still had some of the same issues. Let's go over those quickly, and then I'll tell you why I had such a good time with Class of Heroes 2G. First off, the story is pretty much the same. You're students at an academy going into labyrinths to complete quests and progress through the game. The story is much more interesting than the first game, however, as you have much better characters with lots of personality, which I'll talk about later, but also there's parts in the story where these monsters end up in places that they really shouldn't be, and you need to investigate why. It makes it much more interesting, though it's still not anything super memorable. The game also has a learning curve at the start, just like the first game, of figuring things out, along with some balance issues. I found mages were so handy in this game, as well as I pretty much rocked with a fighter, a ninja to disarm traps, and 4 mages. I just found many other classes didn't work for me, and even as I was progressing lots, I still ended up using the same group of people. It also has this grinding start to it where you can't progress further in dungeon until you level up a little bit, right? Everything else this game does, though, makes for a fun and at times quite an addicting experience. First, with the story aspects, as I said, the characters in this game are much more alive. Yes, you still have the same static picture on screen that doesn't change no matter their moods, but these characters are lots of fun. There are many moments I laughed out loud at this game. The biggest is probably this quest you do where it's a school festival, and during a talent show, this girl Gelato sings, but her singing is so bad that it's knocking people out, so you as the students have to fight her on stage in this boss battle to make her stop singing. I just thought that was pretty hilarious. The game also has more races and classes for your students, with more profile pictures for each character to give them a bit more personality. I just wish I felt like I could have had a nice balance of different classes, and honestly I probably could have once I started getting stronger, but I was having lots of fun with the group I made because I was making progress with this group. The game is also so much easier than the first game I found. I may have forgotten to mention this, but the first game there are 3 difficulty choices of easy, normal, and hard. I was on easy and still had a tough time. While the second game here, you just have normal and this maniac mode. I stayed on normal and found the game easier to get through than the first game. First off, while you do need to grind at the beginning, money is probably 100 times easier to come by. You don't get much gold from battles, but you do get many items from enemies that you can sell and get a good amount at the start. The first game you could too, but you had to identify every item with money and sell them for the same amount you identified them for. You only got more if you were lucky and had items kind of stacked together to sell all at once. For example, having one item to identify for 10 gold, you would sell for 10 gold. But sometimes you would get a stack of 5 items on one, which you would identify for 10 gold and be able to sell them for 50 because 5 each, right? In the second game though, there's no identifying or anything like that. You get items and you sell them. Places will sell for more or less though, so just be aware of that. Also, grinding for experience is easier, I found. Yes, at the start you have to save lots, which both games allow saves at any point outside the battle, so that's nice, but battles go even faster in this one. Not only that, but now everyone has MP for magic instead of these uses, and when you level up a few mages early on, you can use magic for days and many cool and awesome spells. The dungeons or labyrinths are so much better too. I did get a bit frustrated at first when I reached the second area called Witch's Woods, because you start out at this Forest of Beginnings, which that one wasn't too bad, but Witch's Woods, man, that confused me quite a bit. It was just a big maze, many traps, right? But these still look so much more interesting and have much better balance, I felt. It's also nice that each map is its own and not randomly generated, so each area feels unique. Enemy variety could have been better, but so much with this game was a much better experience for me. You can also auto-move to areas you've been to before, and then with mages, eventually you will learn kind of teleport spell, right? So you can travel from place to place with ease and rest to recover your magic, so really cool. Just know that areas and towns you visit you will have to pay to recover, while schools are free for the magic part anyways. Overall, Class of Heroes 2G Remaster is a game I had a lot of fun with. It had fun, energetic characters, fun areas to explore, faster and more fluid battles, and just an overall easier experience to play compared to the first game. I think a good number of people will have a blast with Class of Heroes 2G if you enjoyed these first-person dungeon crawlers. Just need to be patient with its first couple of hours, and once you get through that, yeah, that patience will pay off. It becomes just a very addicting experience. And so, those are my reviews of Class of Heroes 1 and 2 Complete Edition, so let me know what you think in the comments down below. I think these games are going to be for a pretty niche audience, you know, ones who love dungeon crawlers and things like that, because, like I said, both games don't really offer much in the way of deep storylines or anything like that, and for the first game it was quite it was quite tough for me personally to get through, as just there were a few too many frustrating mechanics with that one. But with Class of Heroes 2 or Class of Heroes 2G Remastered, man, I had a lot of fun with that. Like, once you get past that first kind of 2-hour hurdle, the game starts to become really fun and addictive with some really funny dialogue and humorous moments and quests you get to do, right? So really enjoyed my time with Classic Heroes 2G. So yeah, again, these games come out April 26 on the PlayStation 5, Nintendo Switch, and PC. Thank you once again to PCube for providing me with review codes. Really appreciated. Had a lot of fun doing this. And yeah, I'll see you next time, everyone, for more reviews on my channel, along with other videos I do for my channel. So yeah, thanks as always for watching, everyone, and have a great rest of your day. Hey everyone, hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to leave a like and comment, and subscribe if you want to see more, or if you just want to see any of my skits and then nothing else and leave the video, that's fine too. Thanks everyone, take care.